Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Raceface TV, the place where young drivers are getting noticed. We're glad that you're with us tonight. We got a special show going on where we're going to be talking about the Bojangles Legend Car Summer Shootout that's going on out at Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're going to be going down to my good friend Tom Baker from Race Chaser Online with an exclusive show just from there. But before we go down there, I want to make a major announcement. For all of you young drivers that are out there, parents of young drivers, we are getting ready to start pre-enrollment for Raceface University on June the 15th. That's just a few days away. You might be asking, what is Raceface University? Well, it's a place where you're going to be able to go in and learn about the things outside of driving the car that you need to be successful. How to go out and get a sponsorship, how to talk to the press, how to be able to present yourself to the media. It's an unbelievable experience. It's very, very affordable. So start looking for that. Again, pre-enrollment starts June 15th. We're going to be putting out information. If you haven't gone and liked our Facebook page, make sure to go to Facebook, check out Raceface TV, and that's where we'll be posting information, and then we'll be bringing you more information on next week's show. But like I said, it's all about the Bojangles Summer Shootout Legend Cars from Charlotte, North Carolina. So right now we're going to go down to Tom Baker. Tom, it's all yours.
Thanks, Rod. It's great to be with everybody tonight once again from the Race City USA PMN studios here in Mooresville, North Carolina. And I'm fortunate to be joined first by Daniel Wilk. We're going to talk with Tristan Lesik a little later on, but Daniel Wilk and Tristan Lesik, both Legends car racers, and both will be competing in the 24th annual Bojangles Summer Shootout Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway starting next Monday. They had a practice last night, so we're getting both of these youngsters fresh off that pre-series practice night. And Daniel Wilk, good to have you with us tonight. First of all, tell us where you're from, how old you are.
I'm from Pineville, North Carolina, and I'm 13 years old.
13 years old. And talk a little bit about your background in racing for us.
I started doing indoor karts at Victory Lane Karting in Statesville, North Carolina when I was 6 years old, and just had fun doing that for a while. And we're kind of like, maybe it's time to step it up a little bit. So we met some people, and then we got in the Bandoleros, did that for a few years. We had some success in that, and then took the next step to Legend Cars.
Now, in the Bandoleros, you had a season, I think it was 2015, where you were just a rocket ship. Talk a little bit about that year. I think you won, what, 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10?
Yeah, something clicked that year. Me and my dad we're figuring things out, and the year went awesome. It was a great year.
Now, what was it like driving the Bando versus driving the Legend?
It's a lot different. It's a whole different animal, having all that power and not that much grip. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, I'm sure, and you really excelled at the Bandolero. Coming into the Legends car, a little bit of a different animal for you, and of course, the competition in the Legends awfully tough as well. Last year, I know it kind of took you some time through the shootout to kind of get yourself together a little bit. What was it like running the shootout in the Legends car for the first time?
It was definitely very crazy having 24 cars out there very close, and it was just lots of mayhem.
Yeah, quarter mile, right? And you're using part of the front straightaway at Charlotte. And then, of course, part of the infield as well, a little bit different from what most race fans normally see at their Saturday night short track. There's a couple of transition points going up onto the racetrack itself and coming down to the infield. What's it like having to deal with those transitions as a driver?
It definitely throws the car off a little bit, because if you don't hit them just right, it might mess the car up or mess up that lap.
Now, a Bandolero is basically almost a combination car. Half of it's suspended, the front end is not. Mm-hmm. What's it like from a driver's point of view in the Bandolero with only that half a suspension versus the Legends car, what you feel now with that?
It's definitely a lot rougher in the Bando, just having no front suspension, going over the pit road bumps and definitely hitting those transitions. But in the Legend car, you never really feel those bumps. You have four-wheel suspension. It's a lot smoother ride.
A lot smoother ride, and a lot thicker in terms of the size of the field in some cases. I know this year you're running pro, which for a 13-year-old, that's a big step Talk about why you wanted to go up to pro versus staying in the Young Lions class.
Reason of learning much. I haven't had much seat time this year, and it's just kind of getting back into it. So I thought maybe going up and I'll learn more. And Young Lions, it gets pretty crazy, and you might not always finish races, and you might not get all your laps in. You might not learn as much because you've been in caution for so long. But the pros they're a lot cleaner. You're going to learn a lot more.
Well, and last year, of course, Bojangles is the series sponsor. And last year, they were handing out gift cards. Now, I want to talk to you about something you did last year because I think it's really cool and something that I think more drivers ought to think about doing. I think it was it 2 years ago, I guess,
Yes.
when you won all those races, you were getting so many gift cards. And you decided, well, I don't think we can use all these ourselves. So what did you decide to do with some of the gift cards you got?
We ended up taking the gift cards and going to the homeless shelters with kids or young adults, and we bought lots of Bojangles and gave up to them and fed them.
That was awesome. Now, what kind of a reaction did you get? I'm sure they were really just super happy to see you and appreciative of what you did.
Oh yeah, they were very excited, and they loved it. It was amazing reaction from all of them, and it really touched my heart.
Well, it's a great sense of charity to have for sure. Now you're going to be running Legends again this year, and I know the shootout is your main focus, but you've been doing a little bit of racing at Concord on their quarter-mile track. How's that been going for you?
It was been going all right. I mean, we stepped up to the open class, which is a combination of pro, semi-pro, and master, and it was a lot of fun. Learned even more in that division too.
And you've also been known as a young man who's not afraid to share what he's learned. You've coached a lot of other kids in the Bandoleros, especially. What's it like to be on the coaching side versus the driving side? I mean, I've listened on some of those conversations, and you seem to do it very naturally.
It's just you got to be active. You're that kid, what they would want to hear, and just really tell them, break it down for them, make it seem really simple, and they really understand it.
What are some of the biggest things that you have to tell the younger kids, or maybe some of the things that the flaws or things that you see most that you have to fix in the newer drivers that come in?
Finding points on the track where you're familiar to, you're going to hit them every single time. You can't really miss them.
Yeah, it's important to drive to your next mark, isn't it? And it takes a while to learn that too, I think, as a driver, to sort of get that in your mind, to get your eyes up off the front bumper and really be driving to the next mark that you want to hit. What's been the biggest challenge for you so far with the Legends cars?
Just the power and you have to race it a lot different than the Bandolero, and it's its own animal. I mean, you have to drive totally different, and it's a lot of fun.
Seems like the Bandolero is more of a momentum car.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so the Legends car, you're really on the gas a lot more and a lot more aggressive with the brake, I would think, too.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're running it as hard as you can in the corner and just stomping on those brakes, where in the Bandolero, it's lifting early, finessing, and trying to get back to gas as soon as possible.
So talk about who some of your inspirations are in racing.
My favorite NASCAR driver is Jimmy Johnson. I always look up to him. He's one that's always there at the top, always looking to get better.
Now, you and Jimmy Johnson have something else in common more recently here, too. You started running in some distance races. Talk a little bit about what you've been up to with that.
I think it was last week I ran in the Jimmy Johnson Foundation Fit Fest at 5K, and been doing a lot of running lately, doing a lot of competition and stuff as well as he is.
And where did you finish in your age group in that race?
I finished, I think, second.
That's pretty good for somebody who's never run before. That's pretty amazing. And I think didn't you win a running event here recently too?
Yeah, it was a 10K.
10K. So there you go. So fitness important to a racer, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like, since you've been doing more of that, and of course you're a football player too for your school, talk a little bit about all that fitness stuff that you do and how you keep active for racing?
I think it does help. Just keeping active really just helps with racing, just keeping arms strong and everything. Mentally, that also helps.
So now you're running the Legends car this year. What is your goal going forward? Where would you like to be in 2 or 3 years?
Probably getting in the late model or something even further than that, maybe a super, just see how far we get.
And as you continue to progress up the racing ladder, I'm sure you kind of look at some of these other divisions and think, wow, I'd love to try that. So I talked to somebody earlier today who was really into, he would be happy if he could just get to the truck series. He really likes the trucks. So do you have a preference for where you'd like to be someday, or wherever higher you could get to, you're happy?
Anything with 4 wheels, I race it. I don't just keep climbing up the ranks and see where I get.
Okay, so talk about your favorite race that you ever ran.
I don't know if I have a favorite. I love racing anything. Probably last year, rounds 1 through 7 at the shootout, just winning all those races, and then also a few years back when I first started Bandoleros, running at Rockingham Speedway. That's probably my favorite.
Oh, you ran Little Rock.
Yes.
I didn't remember that. Now, for those who aren't familiar with Little Rock, talk about that track a little bit. Everybody knows the Rockingham Speedway is.
It's a quarter mile behind the backstretch, and it is super high banked. It's a very fast track, and that's where I got my first win in Bandolero.
At Little Rock. I didn't know that. Even I didn't know that. Now, what was it like running that versus running a place like Concord that's more of a bull ring?
It was really fast. You could almost flat foot the corners, and it was just crazy fast.
I imagine it was. Now, you were running what, Bandits at the time? Would that be Bandit class? Yeah. So you were just a real little guy at that point, running on a track like that. That's pretty awesome. So talk about football a little bit. What position you play, and how does that work out for you?
I played defensive end, which is on the D line.
Yeah. And are you a starter, or are you a bench person, or what?
I was a starter.
Okay. So you were a starter, and now is it you that played a little bit of lacrosse too?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
played lacrosse for a good while.
That's a
It's my
nutty
second year.
sport.
It's crazy.
That's a crazy sport.
It is very crazy.
So you play lacrosse, you play football, you race cars, and you're a musician. Talk about that.
I play in the orchestra. I play the double bass, which is the biggest instrument in the orchestra.
Wow. Okay. That would be bigger than you, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Lot
significantly bigger than you. That's amazing. Okay, so we've got a versatile young driver here who definitely is looking to move up the ladder. So if anybody's looking to sponsor a driver or hook up with a driver that it definitely has the talent to go somewhere and the pedigree to go with it, because you've got an uncle, I think, that races on dirt up north a little bit.
Yeah, he just got back into racing again. He's actually been doing pretty good for being out for quite a few years, and he's running the modifieds up there.
Well, it's a pretty spectacular series that he races up there, and a lot of fun on some of those tracks that they run. And you've had a bit of a taste of dirt, right? At
Yes.
Millbridge and the Mini Outlaws. Now,
Right.
what was that like compared to the Bando that you were running at the time?
It's crazy stuff over there, and it's a lot of fun, and especially meeting all the NASCAR drivers that come out every week, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, well, Daniel, before we move on with the program and talk with Tristan, tell us who you'd like to thank and who helps you out with your racing.
I would start off by thanking God for giving me the ability to race, and also my dad, just keeping the car where it needs to be, driving me the track every week. The Pet Place for being our sponsors for this year and last year, and the Victory Lane Karting as well, and just hopefully get a good year this year.
Well, I know you're pretty excited about the Bojangles Summer Shootout that starts next Monday, and look forward to seeing how you do this year in the pro class with a bunch of older kids that have run for a while. So you were 6th fastest,
Yep.
I think, overall last night out of about 10 cars. That was pretty impressive for first time out, and for you and your dad being the ones working on it too. So that's, and I think Mike Gordon helped you a little bit as well, right? Yeah. So definitely a bright future for Daniel Wilk. We're going to step aside here, and when we come back, we're going to be talking with another young man who's making his mark in Legends car racing, first-year driver in the Legends, Tristan Lesik. We'll continue with more of Raceface right after these words.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
81% of consumers search online before even setting foot in a store. We help you create a strong foundation for your digital reputation. We help build your online presence to improve search engine rank and make sure your business information is correct across the web. You could do all of this on your own, but why would you spend more than 300 hours a year working on this? You have a business to run. Save time and put our software to work for you.
The Edge, Fridays at noon. If you're an entrepreneur looking for cutting-edge information, tips, tricks, secrets, expert interviews, it's all here at The Edge. Anything you need to build your business, this is the show to listen to. It's The Edge. Check us out Fridays at noon.
Welcome back to Raceface TV. Happy to have you aboard here tonight. Tom Baker with you from the Race City USA PMN studios in Mooresville, North Carolina, and doing a little bit of a preview show here tonight for the 24th annual Bojangles Summer Shootout Series for the Legends and Bandolero cars at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That starts this coming Monday. Well, they'll have racing Monday and Tuesday next week at Charlotte for the Legends and Bandoleros. Last night was their pre-series practice, so we talked with Daniel Wilk in our first segment. We're going to be talking with Tristan Lesik here in segment 2. Tristan, tell us where you're from and how old you are.
I am from Fort Mill, South Carolina, and I am 14 years old.
Fort Mill, just below the border, right? Carolina border, so just below Charlotte. Now, talk about your background in racing a little bit.
Well, I really don't come from that much of a background. I started racing karts at Victory Lane up in Charlotte when I was
Common
9.
theme.
Yeah, we all started at the same place.
Okay, that explains some of the camaraderie between you and Daniel and some of the other guys. Okay.
Yeah, and then I moved up to the Bandolero when I turned 12. So
you were in Victory Lane for about, 3 years in the leagues?
yeah, we won 2 out of the 3 leagues I did. So
Wow, there you go. Well, I didn't get a chance to ask Daniel this, but I'll ask you, how much of that training were you able to take into the Bandolero? Anything, or what can you learn from running in a league in an indoor karting center like that you can apply to the real thing?
well, the karts had basically 0 to no torque, so you had to keep the momentum up, and then just setting up your apexes for each corner.
So when you got into the Bandolero, how did you have to change your mental approach to driving that, other than obviously it was an oval versus a road course?
Yeah, with the Bandolero, it's a lot heavier, so it's harder to keep the momentum up.
And so you get into the Bandolero and talk about your first year in Bandoleros. How'd that go?
It was not a very good year for us. I mean, we won the South Carolina State Championship, but it was a giant learning year for us. It was good, but it was bad at the same time because we did wreck a lot of cars.
Now, by that you mean you wrecked your own car a lot of times versus I wrecked a lot of other drivers.
Yeah, I always try to be a clean racer in everything that I do. So
that can be difficult at the shootout sometimes, can't it?
it is with the Legend cart. It's super duper hard to pass there. So
now, before we get to the Legend, now you had some good runs in the Bando and picked up some wins along the way. Talk about your Bando career as a whole, and especially what it's like to run at the Summer Shootout and kind of how you progress there over the course of your couple of years in the Bando.
Yeah, with the first Summer Shootout that we did, we always started near the back, so we always had to dodge the wrecks. Our last year though, in 2016, we started mostly up front, and then we won one race, but we just didn't have the luck that we should have.
It takes a little bit of luck there, but I think it also takes a little bit of thought when you're on the track, especially in the bandos. You've got the cone that they use, which is a little bit different. So if you know how to play the math right with the cone, you can actually move yourself to the front from the back fairly easily as long as you can race clean.
Yeah, it really all depends on the cautions and whether taking the inside or the outside will be the smarter thing for that situation in time, and then hoping that another problem will come up that you can solve really quickly.
Now, you ran in a pretty competitive group in your last year with the bando last year. How did that prepare you to transition to the Legends car for this year?
Well, I mean, last year's group was super duper fast, gave me great competition each week, and then for this summer shootout, I don't know how it's going to be because there's a ton of cars, and I don't know if it'll be Dodge car or Great Racing.
Dodge car. Okay. I like that term. I might have to borrow that one.
All right.
Yeah, you're going to be running the Young Lions class, and I think 24 or 25 cars entered in that division this year, and they'll start them all at the shootout. I think if they have 24 or less, they'll start everybody. And in a 20 lap or 15-minute time limit scenario, that can get kind of hairy with if there's many incidents. So I think what you're thinking about is, how do I strategize and how do I make sure I keep my nose clean when the only car I can control on the track is mine, right?
Yeah, if you have a fast car that's starting in the back, it's going to want to get to the front as quickly as possible and might not make the smartest choices. So it should be interesting.
From the standpoint of driving, I asked Daniel this earlier. What is it like to drive a Legends car at Charlotte or anywhere versus the Bandolero? What does the Legends need from you that the Bandolero didn't? How's it different?
First of all, with the Bando, you couldn't hit any of the bumps. It would upset the car so much that it would kill your momentum and kill the lap. With the Legend, you actually want to hit the bumps so you can get the car to rotate quickly so you can exit out of the corner a lot faster.
Okay, so the bumps become a tool in the Legends car for you to use to turn the car, whereas in the Bandolero, and I would assume that's probably because you didn't have the front suspension, it would just shoot the car toward the outside rather than actually rotating it. Is that what you're telling us?
Depending on how you hit the bump, it would upset the car either to be super tight or super loose.
So if you're running the Legend for the first time this year, what are you thinking about going into the shootout as a goal? What's a reasonable goal for you for this year's summer shootout?
Top 10 every week is what we want. So
top 10 and keep it clean.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully no wrecked cars.
Do you have a favorite race that you've run that stands out in your mind?
It was kind of a disappointing race, but definitely my last Bando race at Spectacular at Concord.
Concord Motor Speedway. What tell us about what happened there?
So the first segment, I had a really good battle with one of my great friends, and we finished second for that first segment. But in the next segment, the final segment, we started third because that's how the invert works, and we stayed third for about 20 laps, and then we took the lead, and then we held the lead for the last 19 laps, and there was 20 laps left, and
wow.
The car just broke down.
Oh, mechanicals are the worst.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was a tough thing to swallow, but it was a lot of fun. It was the best race I've ever had.
That's awesome. Well, first year in the Legends car, definitely happy to see you make the transition. Who helps you make that happen?
First of all, I got to thank God. He's always provided everything that I've done, and then I've got to thank my dad and mom for all the things they do each and every week, and then my grandparents, they are amazing. Then Blue Lagoon Cafe for sponsoring us for the summer shootout, and Racer Boost Graphic Solutions.
And you're running for Stillwell Racing.
Yep, I got to thank them too. They gave me a great car for the first round of practice, and then 2 races I did at Concord.
Okay, favorite NASCAR driver?
Ryan Newman.
Why?
I love the number 12. I loved his car back in 2002.
So you stayed with him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's already in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you're going to the playoffs, Tristan.
Yep.
And Ryan's certainly one of the veterans for sure. Well, that's Tristan Lesik, and we want to thank all of you for being a part of our Raceface TV show here tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and we certainly encourage you to not only stay tuned to Raceface TV throughout the week for racing announcements and more news about the Raceface brand development program. We're going to have an announcement fairly soon about our new Raceface University program. And of course, for all your racing news each week, hit racechaseronline.com each and every day. And we've got radio shows on the Performance Motorsports Network all week long as well. So just go ahead and download the free PMN Radio app from your app store, or just go to racechaseronline.com and click on the PMN Radio on the front page. So for Rod Wortham and Tristan Lesik and Daniel Wilk and all of the staff here at Raceface TV, my name is Tom Baker. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Well, Tom, what an amazing show. Lots of talent there with you this afternoon. So we're looking forward to getting reports of that over the summer. What a great series. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Remember, Raceface University pre-enrollment starts June 15th. The college course, actually, it's an 8-week course. It starts July the 1st, but we're going to be taking pre-enrollment on June 15th. Look for more information, and until then, make sure to go to our Facebook page, like us, and we'll see you back here next week.